Greg's over there finishing what I started with the pine trees. I say he's finishing it. I hope he does. He's got to go down the hill. See, there's a road there. And in the wintertime, as they're coming up that hill, they can see our house. So I'm going to put pine trees there to kind of block it out just a little bit for the winter. It'll probably take it a while to grow to where I need it to do that, but it's a start. And I'll be over here working on the raised garden beds. We were going to put one in the ground this year, but we found out we do have a second septic tank that we were unaware of, and I don't know which way the lateral lines run. So we're going to do it above ground this year. This is the second time I've tried to grow anything. Last year we started growing things and things went okay until I got distracted by looking for houses to move to and then purchasing this house. I got very distracted, and so we didn't hardly harvest anything out of it for us, but we did give some stuff away and the animals got to eat some things. I'm not a gardener, so I'm learning. I don't mind advice, but be patient with me. I'm done for now on this, on the garden, on the raised beds. I miscalculated everything possible on doing this garden bed. I'll turn it around and let you look at it. The first thing that I miscalculated on is how many pieces of 2x6x8s that we needed. I should have been able to make 4 beds, but I've got 3, and I only have 2 more boards left in the shed, left over from what we purchased yesterday. And then the soil, we didn't get enough of it for any of them, and I went ahead and put some in these because I wanted to keep the stuff down that we were using to keep the grass and weeds from coming up. And so I put a little bit in each one of these to keep that from happening. And I've got this almost full. So this is the width is 4 foot and the length is 8. And the depth is 12 inches. I'm sorry, I got distracted by a car that went by. So it's 4 foot in width, 8 foot long, and 12 foot high. And so it looks like we have just a little bit of over a foot in depth in the soil right now. And so I need to get some more. Okay, I'm gonna get the rest of this stuff put up. I'm gonna get out of the sun. I had to go put a long sleeve shirt on because I've got a sunburn now on my arms and I need to kind of protect them. And I'm gonna water the trees that we planted, and I'll be back in just a minute. All right, it's the next day. There was something else that I miscalculated on besides the raised beds that I wasn't gonna tell you about because it's very embarrassing. So we ordered a dozen leech fighter eggs, and usually when I hatch eggs I get a pretty good hatch rate, but these eggs came up and I was in a hurry to get them, and so I ordered them, and then when the guy was going to ship them, it's when we got our ice storm, and I imagine that has something to do with it. It took the eggs like 3 days to get here. They were fresh eggs, or they were supposed to be fresh eggs from his birds, but 3 days to get here, and we had an ice storm. I'm sure it had a little bit to do with the hatch rate. We filmed candling the eggs like 3 or 4 different times, and they, you know, there were I think there were 2 that weren't fertile, and then there were a few that quit pretty early on in the process, but we still had plenty of eggs, you know, still viable eggs, movement in the eggs when we were candling. But when it came to the hatch day, they didn't hatch. I'm not one to break open eggs and try to figure out why they didn't hatch. When they don't hatch, I just don't want anything to do with them. Let's just get rid of them and get that out of my head. So we actually helped 2 of the birds hatch. They were just in the pipping stage for too long, and so we went ahead and helped them out, and they lived. And then 2 more hatched on their own, and I had promised the 2 of them to someone, and so I had these 4 chicks, and they all seemed to be doing all right, pretty healthy. And then something bad happened. Well, one day one of the chicks wasn't doing as well. It didn't seem sick. It didn't really seem sick, just kind of weak, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. We had the Save a Chick electrolytes and probiotics in their water, and so I just couldn't figure out what was going on. And I told Greg, you know, I think this one is going to be dead by the morning. It's just so weak, but there's really nothing going on that makes it look sick, just weak. And so the next morning it was dead, and I was watching the 3 that were left, and one of them pooped, and the others like went at it, just like, and it was just a little bit. It was just a little bit, and they just jumped at it, and I thought, my goodness, they're starving. And I was trying to figure out, they've got food, they've got water. When they hatched, we were at the expo, right? And so we went the next morning and bought food from Tractor Supply, but when those 2 chicks reacted to that like they did, I realized that they were not getting enough nutrition, that they were starving. And so I was trying to figure out what was wrong, and I looked at the bag, and we had bought a supplement. We didn't buy bird food. We grabbed a supplement off the shelf rather than food. So it's very embarrassing. But I went ahead and I took Cassie her 2 chicks, and I hope that they do well. I hope that at least one of them's a rooster, because these liege fighter roosters are really, really pretty. And so I have the one in here, and he's quite full. But anyway, that's something that I didn't want to share with you, but why not? It happened. I do plan on getting some more liege fighter eggs. If you'll look at my previous video when I went out to Brennan's at Barron Farms house, and I'll leave an iCard up here for you to go back and look at that. She had a beautiful liege fighter, and so hers are starting to lay, and I'll probably get some eggs from her and hopefully get a couple of roosters. And so stay tuned for that. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and we'll see you on the next one.